Michael Jordan has won a Daytona 500, not as a driver, not on a basketball court, but as a team owner, and the way it happened could not have been more dramatic. On Sunday at Daytona International Speedway, Tyler Reddick won the Great American Race with a last lap pass that sent Jordan into one of the most emotional celebrations of his post NBA career. For six-time NBA champion Michael Jordan, the moment felt familiar in a way he didn't expect. "It feels like I won a championship," Jordan said afterward, "but until I get my ring, I won't even know." Jordan, who turned 63 this week, now adds Daytona 500 winner to a resume that already includes global icon, NBA legend, and Hall of Famer. But this one was different. This wasn't something he did himself. This was something he built. Tyler Reddick, driving the number 45 Toyota for 23XY Racing, the team co-owned by Jordan and Denny Hamlin, led just one lap all day. It was the only lap that mattered. Daytona is chaos by design. Drafting packs, massive momentum swings, cars inches apart at nearly 200 miles per hour, and on Sunday, it was pure Daytona madness. There were 25 different drivers who led at least one lap, the most in Daytona 500 history. For most of the race, Reddick wasn't at the front, he was surviving. With 9 laps remaining, a caution reset everything. Denny Hamlin, Jordan's co owner and a 3 time Daytona 500 champion, was involved in the wreck that brought the field back together. His own bid for a fourth win ended in 31st place. But that caution set up the final sprint. On the last lap, chaos struck again. Carson Hocevar was spun. Chase Elliott grabbed the lead, and in the middle of it all, Reddick made his move. With help from teammate Riley Herbst, Reddick surged forward. There was contact with Elliott. Elliott crashed, and Reddick powered past to the checkered flag. He went from mid-pack survivor to Daytona 500 champion in seconds. "I've already lost my voice from screaming," Reddick said. "Never thought I'd be Daytona 500 champion." The emotion in Victory Lane told the rest of the story. Jordan bear hugged Reddick. He hoisted the Harley J. Earl trophy alongside him. He smiled like someone who had just hit a game winning shot in June. For 23X iRacing, this wasn't just a win, it was validation. Jordan and Hamlin founded the team in 2020. They entered a sport deeply rooted in tradition and long standing ownership structures. And just weeks ago, Jordan was at the center of a federal antitrust lawsuit against NASCAR, a case that resulted in changes to the revenue sharing model in the sport. Now he stood in victory lane at Daytona, having beaten the sport's founding family at their own track. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. Denny Hamlin said before the race that he reminded the team of something simple. They had the power to bring joy to Michael Jordan. "There's nothing else that can bring him the joy that seeing what his team can do," Hamlin said. On Sunday, they did exactly that. But this story isn't just about Jordan, it's about Tyler Reddick. Reddick, 30 years old, entered the season with something personal weighing on him. Last year, his infant son was diagnosed with a tumor in his chest affecting his heart. Reddick's focus shifted beyond racing. Family became priority number one. He went winless last season. He opened 2025 with a runner up finish at Daytona, close but not enough. On Sunday, he finished one position better. The win snapped a 38 race losing streak and gave Reddick his ninth Cup Series victory. He did it at the biggest race in American motorsports. And it wasn't just Reddick who carried emotion into victory lane. Teammate Bubba Wallace led a race high 40 laps and looked poised for his own breakthrough. Instead, he finished 10th. Wallace stood in victory lane in tears as Jordan wrapped his arms around him from behind. "I don't want my emotions to take away from the monumental day they just accomplished," Wallace said. "Happy birthday, MJ. That's a massive birthday present." That moment captured what 23XI Racing has become, not just a competitive team, but a cultural one. Jordan's involvement changed how NASCAR is viewed globally. It brought new audiences, new sponsors, new conversations. It brought basketball's most iconic figure into a sport long defined by Southern roots and generational ownership. Now it brings him a Daytona 500 victory. For Jordan, who has always been associated with dominance, this felt different. "You never know how these races are going to end," he said. "You just try to survive." That word, survive, defines Daytona. Reddick survived the pack. He survived the cautions. He survived the final lap chaos. And when it mattered most, he surged. The Daytona 500 has a way of elevating moments into legend. Underdogs win, favorites crash, champions are crowned in inches. On this day, a driver led only one lap, the final one, and delivered one of the most emotional wins in recent NASCAR history. Michael Jordan now has a Daytona 500 ring waiting for him. And for a man who has built a life on championships, this one might feel just as sweet because this time it wasn't about scoring the final points. It was about building something strong enough to win without him in the car. And on the biggest stage in NASCAR, that vision crossed the finish line first.